If you are constantly waking up feeling just totally drained, hitting that snooze button 3 times or, struggling to focus during those massive afternoon meetings, well, you're absolutely in the right place. In this explainer, we're going to completely transform how you look at rest. We're building a definitive, science-backed toolkit to conquer sleep deprivation once and for all. We're treating sleep not as some luxury, but as your ultimate biological superpower. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. First up, the superpower of sleep. Number 2, understanding your sleep cycle. 3, perfecting your pre-sleep routine. 4, science-backed sleep techniques. And finally, number 5, finding the perfect position.
So, Section 1, the superpower of sleep. Let's talk about why rest is your ultimate biological fuel.
Get this, 1 in 3 adults regularly get less than the recommended 7 hours of sleep. 1 in 3? That is wild. We are literally living in an epidemic of chronic fatigue. And when we skip sleep, we aren't just feeling, a bit groggy. We're actually actively increasing our risk for things like heart disease, diabetes, and impaired cognitive function. It's a huge deal. Which brings us to the concept of sleep debt. Think of your body kind of like a bank account. Let's say your body requires 8 hours to fully rest, but you only sleep 6. Well, you've just borrowed 2 hours of energy from your body. The real danger here, this debt is cumulative. It compounds over time. Do that for 4 days, and you've essentially skipped an entire night's worth of sleep. And just like a real bank, eventually that biological debt absolutely has to be paid back.
Moving right along to Section 2, understanding your sleep cycle. We need to decode your internal clock and its stages.
So sleep isn't just one long, flat block of unconsciousness. It's actually this super dynamic cycle of 4 distinct stages. We kick things off in N1, which is a very light phase for just a few minutes. This is where a slamming door or a loud noise can easily snap you awake. Then we dip down into N2, where your heart rate slows and your core temp drops. But the real magic? That happens in N3, deep sleep. This is where your body is literally repairing muscle tissue and releasing those deep delta waves. Finally, we hit REM, or rapid eye movement. That's where your brain is busy processing memories and having dreams. A truly healthy night means cycling through all 4 of these stages about 4 to 6 times.
And this brilliantly illustrates how your brain functions so incredibly similarly to a computer. During the day, you're collecting information, holding it in your short-term memory, much like a computer's RAM. But, when a computer powers off, that RAM gets wiped clean. When you enter deep sleep in REM, your brain is actively taking all that vital short-term data and transferring it into long-term storage on your hard drive while basically tossing out the junk you don't need. If you skip this process by cutting your sleep short, you wake up with wiped RAM, which is exactly why you feel foggy, unfocused, and, honestly, zombie-like the next day.
But here's the catch. Our internal clocks, they are not all built the same. There are 4 main genetic chronotypes. Bears basically follow the sun, peaking before 2 p.m. Lions are your classic early-to-bed, early-to-rise types with massive morning energy. Wolves are the night owls, doing their best, most creative work way after dark. And dolphins are those light, kind of irregular sleepers. The reason this matters so much is that fighting your natural genetics is a huge, primary cause of daytime fatigue. I mean, if you're genetically a wolf, forcing yourself into bed at 9 p.m. is only going to result in you staring at the ceiling in total frustration.
All right, Section 3, perfecting your pre-sleep routine. Let's talk about training your body for consistent rest. Sleep expert Dr. Michael Bruce hits the nail on the head here. He says, sleep is not an on-off switch. It's more like slowly pulling your foot off the gas and slowly putting your foot on the brake. See, we expect to run around at 100 miles an hour all single day, hit the pillow, and just instantly power down. But biology just doesn't work that way. We have to intentionally signal to our bodies that, hey, the day is over. So, how exactly do we hit the brakes? We use the 3-2-1 wind-down method. 3 hours before bed, cut off the food. Digesting food, especially heavy carbs, releases insulin and actually signals wakefulness to your body. 2 hours before bed, step away from the screens. And it's not just about the blue light, it's the high engagement. Doom scrolling the news or playing a fast-paced game literally spikes your anxiety. Finally, 1 hour before bed, you begin a dedicated, intentional relaxation routine. During that final hour, try implementing Dr. Bruce's Power Down Hour. It's such a great framework. You basically divide that last 60 minutes into 3 20-minute chunks. The first 20 minutes is for the must-dos. Pack your bag, reply to that one lingering email, track down your keys for the morning. Just get those stressful logistics completely out of the way.
The next 20 minutes is for physical hygiene, like washing your face or taking a warm bath. And the final 20 minutes, purely for relaxation. This could be meditation, prayer, or just jotting things down in a gratitude journal. Because ending your day with positive emotions actually leads to more positive dreams. How cool is that?
Now pay really close attention to this timeline because this is an amazing biological temperature hack. About 90 minutes before bed, take a warm bath or shower. Then, 60 minutes out, drop your bedroom thermostat to a nice, cool 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Why? Well, the warm water brings blood to the surface of your skin, and when you step into that cool room, your core body temperature rapidly drops. That sudden drop in core temperature is the exact biological signal your circadian rhythm is waiting for to release melatonin and kickstart sleep.
Section 4. Science-backed sleep techniques. These are mental tricks to quiet a racing mind.
Look, people often stress out if they are totally unconscious the second their head hits the pillow. But normal sleep latency, which is just the medical term for the time it takes to fall asleep, is actually 10 to 20 minutes. If you're falling asleep instantly, within like 2 minutes, that's not a flex. That's actually a clinical warning sign that you are severely sleep deprived. So please, give yourself some grace. Lying awake for 15 minutes is perfectly normal and totally healthy.
But if you're creeping past that 20-minute mark and starting to get frustrated, try the 4-7-8 breathing method. It's incredibly simple but physically very powerful. Here's what you do. You inhale quietly through your nose for 4 seconds. You hold that breath for 7 seconds. And then you exhale completely with a big whoosh through your mouth for 8 seconds. That long, extended 8-second exhale acts as a literal physical trigger for your parasympathetic nervous system, forcefully shifting your body out of that anxious fight or flight mode and right into rest and digest mode.
Now, if breathing isn't cutting it, try a mental trick called cognitive shuffling. When we fall asleep naturally, our thoughts naturally become kind of fragmented and random. Well, you can artificially induce this to trick your own brain. Pick a word, a simple one, like sleep. For the letter S, visualize completely random, unconnected things. A submarine, a strawberry, a saxophone. The secret sauce here is the randomness. It occupies your mind just enough to block out stressful thoughts about, say, tomorrow's big meeting, while perfectly mimicking the exact brain patterns of someone drifting off. Alternatively, you can try something called paradoxical intention. Literally lie there and try your absolute hardest to stay awake. By removing the pressure to fall asleep, the performance anxiety just vanishes, and you'll often pass right out.
And finally, Section 5, finding the perfect position. Physical alignments for pain-free rest.
All right, first off, stomach sleepers. We need to break that habit tonight. Sleeping on your stomach aggressively twists your cervical spine and violently pulls your lower back downwards, completely out of alignment. If you're a side sleeper, you absolutely must use a pillow that keeps your neck perfectly straight and make sure to tuck a pillow between your knees to keep your pelvis neutral. But the absolute gold standard for pain relief, especially if you deal with things like sciatica, sleep flat on your back and place a nice plush pillow directly under your knees. This bends your legs just slightly, taking the tension completely off your hamstrings and relieving all that pressure on your lower spine. It's a total game changer.
So, the crucial point here is, once you've successfully slept through the night, don't ruin it by sitting up wrong in the morning. So many people wake up and just hinge straight up out of bed like they're doing a crunch. That puts a massive, dangerous load right on your lower back discs. Instead, follow these simple steps to protect your back. First, roll onto your side facing the edge of the bed. Then bend your knees and drape your legs over the edge, just letting gravity pull them down. And finally, simply use your arms to press your torso up, keeping your back totally straight the entire time. This protects your spine and totally prevents those awful morning pain flare-ups.
Which brings us to the absolute most important question of this entire explainer. What is the first habit you are going to change in your sleep toolkit tonight? Are you going to set up a power down hour? Maybe grab a pillow for under your knees? Or finally figure out your biological chronotype? Whatever it is, don't wait until tomorrow. Pick just one highly actionable thing from our journey today and implement it tonight to unlock your biological superpower. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. Sleep well, and I'll catch you next time.